Your life? All right. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to have all of you here with us again. Today, you're going to have a lecture with Rafael. But before we start, we're going to do our initial prayer with Sandra. Sandra, do you want to do the initial prayer?
Thank you, Sandra. Good morning, everybody. As always, it's very good to be here with you guys, and another opportunity for us to talk about spiritism. So this doctrine that helps us so much, especially in the difficult times that we are facing with in our planet in this moment of transition. So the topic today, it's a continuation of the conversation that we started last Sunday about reincarnation. So what is the challenges and the necessities for us to reincarnate? So there is a little bit of overlap, but the thing is, this topic is so important that I'm allowing this overlap so that I can reestablish or reinforce some topics that were talked about last Sunday. But I will try to bring a different angle and a different concepts as well. So as we started last week, everything starts with the law of progress. So for some reason, we may not even not ever understand why, but for some reason, God decided that He would create us for progress. He would put us in this everlasting upwards spiral of progress that will take us eventually to peace and happiness. So that's His love. That's His decision. We are in it. We will progress. We will evolve. We will grow. And we will be happy one day. So there's nothing we can do about it. We will be, even if we don't want to be happy, we will get rid of our addictions, our selfishness, our pride, and one day we'll be perfectly happy. So there's no way to escape that. So reincarnation is a very important mechanism to help us get there. And then we think, okay, why would we reincarnate in a body, in something that is so hard to maintain? It's so heavy. So we are very sensitive to everything that happens around us. We feel cold, we feel hot, we feel pain, we feel hunger, we feel fatigue. If we want to transport, if we want to go to work, if we want to travel to another country, transportation is also an obstacle because it's hard. It's hard. So whoever works an hour away and has to commute every day understands. So you have to transport your body to your work and back. And you spend money, you get tired. So this creates the perfect condition for us to learn But why? I'll explain why. Because of all that, because you have to feed your body, and because we have to look for shelter, we try to make our lives better. We need to work, to build things, we need to adapt, to feed, sleep, interact. And more importantly, we need to interact with each other. We need to meet people. This is part of this whole mechanism. While we are trying to support ourselves here, we need to meet people. So imagine if you didn't have to work, how many people you wouldn't have met. So how many people you meet, how many friends you make, how many people become a problem for you just because you have to go to work. So how many situations we would have avoided if you didn't have to go to work? What if you didn't have to live in a family? So all this, it makes us interact. And in this interaction, we meet old friends, old enemies, or if it's not an enemy, at least a person that doesn't sympathize with you. When I say old, I mean from past reincarnations. So we reconnect with the people that we may have a debt with, or from people who are there to be our friends, to give us love, to give us strength to overcome the problems. Whereas other people will become the problem. So it will make us grow, and maybe have an opportunity to ask for forgiveness with that person, or just go through a difficult situation with that person. So because we are here, because we need to move, we need to work, we need to do all that with our body, we interact with all these people, and we may pay our debts and learn what we have to learn so that one day we can be happy. So, and there's something else. This body is not just to make us feel cold and feel hot and to interact with people, but our body is also a filter. Our body reflects the moral imperfections, the moral problems that we have as spirits, and we reflect that on our body. So I don't know if you guys remember, a little bit of science, of course, but nothing hard. So if you guys remember our biology classes, we have these cells, these little spheres that compose our body. We have like 3 trillions of them composing our body. So we have the membrane, and we have the nucleus in the middle, and then in between we have this paste, this liquid that we call cytoplasm. And in the cytoplasm we have the organelles and the little organs that make the cell live. A cell is a living being as well. So our body is made of living beings. And according to the spirits, or Andrea Luis, our perispirit is connected to the cytoplasm, this paste, cell by cell. So there's a communication there. And when we have a moral imperfection that needs to be addressed, that we come in order to fix that, this imperfection, since we are connected cell by cell to our body, it develops a disease. We call self-immune diseases, which are incurable. We can treat, but sometimes there's nothing you can do, because it's us reflecting on our body a problem that is deep in us, in the spirit. And the body is just responding to it. The cells are just responding to an unbalanced control. And then they start destroying themselves or attacking other cells in the body. And then we start wasting away we see we lose weight, we lose muscle mass, and we look older, and then people see that, or the person who is going through that, they revolt and they say, does God exist? Why would that happen with such a good person? And but this is a very important mechanism. The problem is that we see only one side. So there are in the book Evolution in Two Worlds, André Luiz, he brings two concepts to explain that: spiritual histolysis and histogenesis. The word is a little weird, but it's very easy to understand. Histo is tissue, and lysis is destruction, and genesis is the beginning. So what happens is the body wastes away to reform the perispirit. So the perispirit is taking everything that is good from the body and leaving that disease away. And purifies, a purification process. So the perispirit is reforming anew during the process of that disease. So it's not, we see only the body because we cannot see the perispirit. And we see that the suffering and the person wasting away, but we don't see the beauty or the purification that that person is really going through. So once everything ends and the body finally dies, the perispirit is purified. That person now, it's a happier person. So this is it's a concept that when we are going through, it's hard to grasp, because we see that suffering and we are going through that suffering. And it's completely acceptable for us to be sad. And if we are going through that, is for us to, it's not good. Of course, it's not good. Nobody wants to go through that. Sometimes we choose before we come to go through that because we see the end product. We see that in the end, we'll be free from that pain that we were feeling before, moral pain. So we prefer to, okay, transfer all the pain to the body so that I don't have to feel it anymore when I'm back as a spirit. So this is what André Luiz tells us and he brings to us. In my head is like, I can make an analogy with a worker that is building a house, and you see that the clothes get dirty, greasy, and you see only the clothes. The guy is very dirty in the end, but then he finished the house, he removes the clothes and takes a shower, and he's clean and he's happy because he finished his duty. So he sees the house there, pretty, people living in it. The clothes are there, dirty, but who cares? The important part is that the house is built. I know that for us it will take some time to really understand and go through this, to see the importance of this mechanism, because we can only see the person or the body. But that's why we are here, and that's why we're talking about, so that we can learn. And then it comes, so last week we were talking about that through incarnation and through all this difficulties that we go through when we are here, we get closer to God. But now if we imagine, let's say that we are living in a colony. We are not incarnated, we are discarnated spirits, and we are living in a colony like nosso lar. And we have prayers several times a day. We walk around in those landscapes, in the water fountain. Everybody's good, no violence. Aren't we close to God there? Isn't that enough? Why do we request to come back? Because we do ask. We do ask to come back. But why? Why ask to come here and to be sick or to go through situations of violence? Or why? To come back to this heavy body where we are there and we don't have to worry about solid foods and expensive way of transportation. Everything is better. We know that the earth, it's us trying, it's a reflex. We try to build here what we see there. So the cities, they happen first there. We are just trying to make something a reflection. So why would we come back? I'll try to paint a picture. So if we imagine that we are here now incarnated and we have everything material, everything that we desire. We have the house that we want, we have a car that we want, we have the job that we want, we have friends, we have family, and we have all this. Life is, it's not that hard. We have health, but someday in the past, we did something that made or is making someone that we love suffer. So that person is going through pain, it's suffering because something that we did. And we remember that, of course. We remember, we go to sleep thinking about it. We wake up thinking about it. We walk around our big house thinking about it. We drive our expensive car thinking about it. There's no way to be happy like that. It doesn't matter how much money, how many material things you have. It doesn't matter. You can't enjoy it. You can't leave that. You're not even there. Your body is there, or your mind is somewhere else. So that's because we have this cricket in our ear that we call conscience. So this conscience, it hurts us because we all have the God's law written inside of us, in this conscience, that it never leaves us. So when we do something that we know it's wrong and is making someone else suffer, it hurts. It hurts because it's our compass is telling us that we are off track, and it's going to hurt until we go back to the track. So if we can imagine that we are in this colony and we are happy, surrounded with good people, but we remember what we did to someone, that hurts. It doesn't matter if we are in a colony. It doesn't matter. It hurts. Our conscience is demanding that we fix that, and we feel that pain. So we ask to come back. We ask and implore to come back, so that we can meet that person again in whatever situation. So then we can suffer the wrath, or we can suffer the irritation of that person. But in the end, all we want is the forgiveness. Is to be forgiven, or to stop feeling that pain, to pay our debt. Okay, now I made you lose your house. Now I'm gonna work with you in the next life, and so that you can get or can build a new house. And I'll suffer with you by your side. You're going to be mad at me. You're going to beat me up, but I'm going to continue being there. And in the end, the pain that we go through when we suffer that person's irritation or wrath, it's much less than the pain that we were suffering before we incarnated, when our conscience was making us hurt. The only detail is that we don't remember. We don't remember, but we ask for that. We ask, and that is very important. We may not remember, but we have guides. We have guidance. So Jesus left us his gospel. And the gospel, as he himself said, that I'm the way, the truth, the life. So the gospel teaches us how to behave according to our own conscience. And that's why Spiritism, it's a way for us to be here in this incarnation and know all this. There's no veil, there's no allegory, just clear and reasonable. So that's the importance of what we are doing here today. We are trying to understand all this while we are incarnated. So then we cannot avoid pain, because the pain is the mechanism of repaying. But we can avoid desperation and revolt. Desperation and revolt. So that we can take the most of our time here. And I would like to bring something, some lessons from one chapter from the book Missionaries of the Light. We mentioned this briefly last week, but this chapter is so important for everyone who studies Spiritism, that there's so many lessons, so many. And I wanted to bring a few of them so that we can talk about it today. So this chapter is chapter 13, and it talks about the reincarnation of Selfimmune. So it says spirit is reincarnating, and all the details of the process of reincarnation since the beginning, when the spirit has a meeting with the parents, the future parents, when the parents are sleeping, it's narrated there. So it's very important, a very important chapter brought to us by André Luiz. So the first thing is, we know that we need to reincarnate, and we ask to reincarnate. But when the time comes, it's not an easy process, because we know we are coming to pay debts. We know we are coming not on vacation. We are coming to work hard. And when it gets close to that time, we get nervous. And this is in the Spirit's book. I'm just going to say the chapter. Chapter 7, the return to corporeal life. The spirits talk a lot about some spirits that they don't even understand what reincarnation is. They don't even feel it, because it's a compulsory reincarnation. Those spirits are still too hard. They can't listen to their own conscience. So then they are just brought back just because they have to reincarnate. But most of us, we are conscious of what we are doing here. We choose our bodies, sometimes on the minimum details. We choose our diseases, our limitations, how we're going to look like. Sometimes we choose our parents. But when it's time to come, we go through that anxiety. And that's why it's so important for us to meet with our future parents and talk with them. So that's why sometimes the parents, they dream about their kids before they are born, because there was a meeting. This comes directly related to the commandment, honor your father and your mother, because they are the ones who are going to sacrifice their time, sometimes their careers, in order to have you. Everyone that is here came from a family, father and a mother. So it's something so beautiful. That was one of the first lessons that we learned. You have to honor your father and your mother. It's not conditional. You say that you honor your father and mother if they did this, if they did that. No, it's you honor them, unconditional. Sometimes we have debts with them. We did something to them in the past, or they did to us, and we have to reincarnate all in the same family so that we can figure out, so that we can learn to like each other, or to support each other. And it's difficult. Sometimes we see, oh, I'm so different from my family. We can't agree on anything. That's okay. It doesn't matter. it doesn't matter. They are your parents. And this is also connected to adoptive parents. Because sometimes you are to come from that family with those parents, but you come through another biological mother or father, but you're destined to be with that family. This is there's an old book from the spirit Antonio Carlos. I'm not sure if it's translated to English, and it's called The Adoptive Son, and explains all this mechanism. There was a spirit that was supposed to reincarnate in a specific family, but that family could not biologically conceive a spirit. So the spirit came through another body, another mother, and it ended up with that family. So it was part of the mechanism. And he grew up with that. So those were the real parents. Yeah, now we have to be careful. They're all real parents in the adoptive process. But those are the ones who carry the responsibility of raising that spirit. So when in this chapter, when Segismundo, when he comes and meets the parents, the father feels an immediate repulsion, because the father recognizes the spirit, and remembers what happened in the past. So then the mentors, they talk to both of them and say, okay, the past is the past. You guys need to come in the same family. Give that spirit a chance. You had your chance. You are incarnated now. So give the chance to that spirit to come. He needs to come, and he has to come through you guys. So then they finally agree, and the incarnation is carried on. So maybe sometimes we have problems with our family, and sometimes we feel, I'm never going to talk to my parents again. Never allow that to happen. No matter what, honor your father and your mother. They are the ones responsible for the chance you're having right now. Another thing that it comes from this book. I'm going to read just a small sentence. It's nothing big. So don't go away. So this is about sex. So it talks a lot about the importance of sex. So this is the Alexander, the mentor that is teaching André Luiz. It is necessary to shift the concept of sex, refraining from locating it solely in certain organs of the transitory human body. Let's view sex as an active or passive quality, a soul's agent or recipient function. So we can only reincarnate through sex. But this sex is not just the physical manifestation, it's much more. It's the creative power of the spirit. And one day we won't need to express our sexual energy through the physical contact. That happens with couples that they're together for decades, or that they spend a lifetime together. They start exchanging that energy naturally through the daily life without having to rely solely on the sexual act. But anyway, so that's why sex, it has to come involved in love, because there's a spirit, or there might be a spirit that will come through that act. So it's not by chance that God will make a requirement for a spirit to reincarnate only when two people, they are together at that moment. They share that moment. And it's something that is so beautiful, because it's a spirit that reincarnates as a fruit of love between two people. So it goes on the other direction of what we are seeing sex is taking in our society, because it's something that it's sacred, it's something to be respected, and is the business of only the couple, the two people that are there. And when I say couple, I say spiritual couple, doesn't matter the gender. So then it's only among those two. It doesn't, nobody has no business in that. So we don't have to show it to everybody, or we don't have to, well, you guys know what I mean. So it's something sacred. It has to be involved in love. So that's the second concept, the second lesson that I wanted to bring from this chapter. And there's a third that is very, very interesting, but we still have time. Okay, so this one I'm not going to read. I'm not gonna bore you guys. I'm going to explain. So the spirit is explaining that when we reincarnate, and we start connecting, our pure spirit to start connecting cell by cell, so then we have invagination of the first cell, and it starts to mutate, not mutating, it starts multiplying by mitosis. So 4, 8, 16, 32, 128, and it keeps growing, and we connect one by one. We go through all the stages that we were in the beginning of our evolution. So amoeba, reptile, fish, we go, even if for a few hours, we revive, we recapitulate what we've learned in other kingdoms, in other species, as intelligent principles. So before we assume the state, our evolutionary state, the last species, we go through all the others that we inhabited in the past. So how amazing is this? It's not just to learn, we recapitulate, we remember the lessons from other species when we were in different states of conscience or consciousness. So this is amazing. This shows how important it is to reincarnate. And then we have those, it explains those situations where the spirit leaves. It's after its birth, the spirit leaves for 2 weeks, and then it passes away. So what's the point of reincarnating if you're going to live only 2 weeks? It's very important because the spirit still had to go through all this process. And this is very important for the reconstruction of the pure spirit. You know, that some situations like suicide, that our pure spirit is completely destroyed by our own hand. And we need to come through this process and to remember who we are, remember where we went through in different species, so then we can reconstruct, we can go through that exercise. So then we can incarnate for 2 weeks, then 6 months, then 10 years, and then a full life. So it's very important. So reincarnation is much more important than we normally think. And then we start thinking, okay, why is all this knowledge important? Why? So how would that console us? Because Spiritism is the promised consoler, is not the promised scientist. It doesn't matter. It has to, in the end, it needs to make us feel better. So this knowledge, it makes us understand why we are here and why we see what we see and why we suffer what we suffer, or the difficulties that we go through. And because of that, we don't get desperate, we don't get revolted, we understand. We go through that pain with courage. We have force, we have strength to overcome the obstacles, because now we understand. So I just this week I saw a posting from a friend who's living in Brazil, and the post was saying, "Does God exist?" And then that person was saying that how many times she was mugged, and she went through situations where her life was threatened. And she was saying, okay, so where is God? And this is why it's so important for us to bring all this. When this happened with a member of Chico Xavier's mediumship group, and that person came to Chico and said, oh yeah, my office was completely destroyed. They stole everything and destroyed everything else. And then Chico looked at that person, hugged the person, and understood the pain. And then in the end, he said, it's so good to give it back. Because Chico was seeing that from the incarnation perspective, from the perspective of the immortal spirit. So that person was giving it back. There was a reason why all that happened. So it's giving it back. So to answer my friend's question, does God exist? Yes, God exists and loves us more than we can understand. And that's why God allows us to go through these difficulties, to give it back, to pay our debts and be free, to have our conscience free, so that when we go back home to the spiritual realm, we are lighter, happier. And that's the only way to understand the Sermon of the Mount. When in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, when it's recorded, and when Jesus says, blessed are the afflicted. Why would the afflicted be blessed? Why would Jesus say that bless pain? Why do you have to go? Why do we need to feel pain? And if you see in the internet, some people who are against Spiritism, that's their argument. Spiritism is telling us that we need to feel pain. I don't want to feel pain. I want to be happy. Why would Spiritism tell us that it's good to feel pain? It's not. Of course it's not. Nobody likes pain. But Jesus, again, everything changes when we talked about the immortal spirit. Jesus was talking to the immortal spirit. Blessed are you who is here now and is in pain, because it's your purification. That's what is going to make you happier in the future. My kingdom is not of this world. It's not of this world. So blessed are you, because when we meet in my kingdom, you'll be happy. That's what Jesus is saying. Bear your pain with courage, because it's temporary. It's only temporary, but your happiness, it's forever. It's eternal. So this is the only way to understand his words, is to really see what he's saying and how beautiful that is. To give us this chance to come here and purify ourselves so that we can be happy forever. With our family members, with those that we love. So how good that is. This is the consolation that we get from Spiritism, from this understanding of reincarnation. It makes everything, it makes sense. It quiet, even if we are in pain, it brings peace to our hearts, that we understand. That doesn't mean that we don't have to do anything. So it's work and resignation. So you resign so that you say, okay, I'm not going to revolt against God. I'm going to face this problem. But we have to work to try to fix it. That's the law of progress. So we have to obey all the laws. You do everything you can to end your pain. But don't revolt or get desperate against it. Work to fix it, but don't get desperate. So that's the main thing. And understand that is happening, it's for your own good. Even if now you don't see it. One day you will. So guys, that's what I wanted to bring to you today. So thank you for listening, and I'm free to continue conversation.
Thank you, Rafa, for the lecture. We want to open to everybody that is with us, Fabio, Mark, Joe, if you have any question or want to add any comment to it, that we can make it as a conversation. If you are watching us through the Facebook page or through our YouTube channel, please feel free to put your question there, and I'll be happy to read it for Rafael, and we can comment a little bit there. Okay, so but Fabio and Mark, if you don't mind, I make one comment here, a note here, half on what you're saying. And one of the questions that I always hear and that troubled me in the beginning when I started learning spiritism and the need for incarnation, etc. You know, sometimes we have this sense that this knowledge on spiritism will bring to us a complete peace, that the pain of our suffering will not be that painful, it'll be, but the truth is that it will still hurt, right? It will still, it's okay to still be sad, upset about what we're going through. And I thought that it was really nice the way that you put it, because the incarnation, we're going to go through it, we're going to feel the pain, we're going to feel upset, but spiritism brings us the courage, as you said, to move forward, to embrace the incarnation, embrace that pain in a different way that make it much more light to our existence here on Earth, right? Am I saying that correct, Rafa? Do you agree? This makes sense what I'm saying?
Definitely, because knowing spiritism doesn't make us perfect right now. So we know that firsthand, all of us. We know we learn something, we read Joanna de Angelis, and we learn a lot, and we try to be grateful, and then the next day we are complaining about what happened. So, oh my God, I did it again. So it's not going to change us from overnight. So the pain is still necessary, but it makes us understand, and so that we don't get, okay, I hate God, which makes no sense. But anyway, sometimes we feel that. I remember when I was doing my PhD, and I was no money. Of course, I was a student, I was new in Canada, and all I had money to buy was one of those electric scooters. So me and my wife, we used to go everywhere with that electric scooter and put shopping groceries. It's a very small thing, right? But we used to go everywhere with that. And one day I went to Ryerson for my classes, and it was stolen. And I came back, and it was not there. It was the only thing that we could have. We didn't have money for anything else. So then in that moment, for a few minutes, I felt revolt. I felt, how can this happen? But right away, I came back to my senses, and I took it. It hurt like hell. Sorry, but it really it hurt. It hurt. My heart was aching, like being squeezed, and that's all I had, and it hurt. But the revolt went away, and I took that, and I thought, okay, it was, I'm giving back. It's something that I had to do, and eventually that I stopped thinking about it. I bought another one, then I bought a car. Now I live in my house. It passed. It passed. It was that moment, but it helped me to go through. It helped me to go through. So that's what spiritism can do for us. The pain is there, but first thing, we don't get desperate, we don't get revolted, and we let go. We learn that we let go, and we live our lives.
Thank you, Rafa, for sharing your experience. Anyone have any questions or comment that they want to add? So Mark make a comment on the chat. I'm gonna read it for us. It was amazing to hear you saying about the pain, how purifying it can be. We all know at some point what we need to do in order to progress. We need to do in order to progress. However, we keep postponing the changes, and maybe when we realize we need to change, it is too late. We are already in the other side. What can be done to stay in the way of the progress and avoid to pitfalls of this world with so many temptations?
Well, first, we need to keep an eye on ourselves. How are our thoughts going? Because we can change really fast. So it depends on what we watch, what we read. Sometimes when I'm reading a book and I feel that I'm thinking in a different way, like in a violent way, I close the book and I put it to the side and I go back and pick, maybe I read the spirits book again, I read the gospel, I pray, because we need to keep watch on ourselves, because it's very easy for us to follow the trend of this world. It's easy because to be, let's say, to be here today and to be a good person, it's new. We spend a long time being a bad person, let's say an ignorant person. So now we know a little bit more. So I try to watch myself, and I pray. I pray when I'm driving to work. I'm praying before I'm going to sleep. Whenever I'm doing my barbecue outside and I see the trees, and I do another prayer, because it's what keeps me on track. It makes me reconnect. It gives me the strength to continue in the right path. So it's a feedback. We have to keep feeding that until one day it will be natural. That will be our go-to wavelength. But it's like it's an exercise. It's like exercising your body. You have to exercise to maintain your muscles. Let's say prayer is our workout. We have to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it.
And if you don't mind if I add, I think we need to accept as well our imperfection, right? And in the stage that we are as a spirit, we will not be sent in one incarnation, right? The apostles, even the apostles, they came to earth prepared, right? They came to earth to help Jesus. They were not perfect at that point. They had other incarnations as well, right? We know some of them have incarnated again, and they continue their process of getting to the point of being perfect. So I think we need to accept as who we are at this point, and not use that as an excuse to not do what the change that we need to do, but accept that the change will not happen overnight. Accept that the change will take time and probably multiple incarnations. Will not be in one incarnation that everything will change. But again, let's not use that as an excuse to not change what we know we need to change. Thank you, Mark, for your comment and question. Anything else from anyone? All right, if there is no further questions, let's finish with our final prayer. I want to invite everybody at this point to close your eyes and take this moment to be thankful for everything that we are going through. Be thankful for our pains. Be thankful for the challenges that we find in our lives, because we know that that is what purifies us as spirits. And we ask you, God, if there is any pain that can be alleviated, please do so. And to compensate that, we ask you, God, to put in our hands the opportunities to do the good toward our brothers and sisters here with us. Because we know that the other way to grow, the other way to get closer to you is through charity, is helping our brothers and sisters. So we thank you, God, for giving us the opportunity to be here, incarnated, alive, to be here to work towards our perfection. At this moment, we receive from the above the peace and the love that the good spirits helping TSS and helping each one of us is giving to us. And we thank you, God, for those brothers and sisters on the spiritual world, that they are always there to help us. Thank you, and so be it. All right. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you with us. Hope to see you again in one of our studies. For those who doesn't know, we initiated a new activity at TSS every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Toronto time, where we are doing some prayers and irradiating good energy, good vibes to our planet. We have been thinking to do that for a while, and with all the things that is happening in our planet this time, there is not a better time to start it, right? So if you want to join us every Tuesday at 7:30, it's open to the public. You're gonna see us live, and with a link to a Zoom meeting where you can join and participate that. Okay, so thanks so much for being with us. Hope to see you again in one of our activities on Tuesdays, on Thursday, on Wednesdays, or here Sunday again. All right, have a good weekend. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye, guys.